In math, the third graders are learning different strategies to help them solve multiplication problems. One of those strategies is to use the distributive property. The distributive property of multiplication is a rule that states that a factor in a multiplication equation can be broken into an addition sentence. Then each number in that addition sentence can be multiplied by the other factor to find a product. So we started with some smaller numbers to help us so that later on we could use the same strategy with bigger numbers to multiply. So if we have 3 times 6, then we could take the 6, the bigger factor, and we can break that 6 up into an addition sentence. The 6 can be broken into 2 plus 4, and then we can distribute, we can multiply 3 times 2, and then we can distribute to the 4. We're going to hand out 3 times 4. And then if we know that 3 times 2 equals 6, and then we can use our strategy to figure out 3 times 4, we can add 6 plus 12 equals 18. And I know that seems like a lot to figure out 3 times 6 because you could use a repeated addition, skip counting. It is a strategy to help you when you get to bigger numbers. So, if I understand the distributive property, then I can make harder multiplication sentences easier. I can split apart a factor to make 2 easier equations. So if I have 8 times 7, I can use the distributive property. Well, I know that 8 times 5 is 40. I can split apart the 7 into an addition sentence. It's always great to have addition sentences where I have 5s. So if I have 5 plus 2, I know that 5 plus 2 equals 7. That equals 7. So I can multiply each addend. If I have 2 times the 8, and then I have a 5 times the 8. 8 times 2 is 16, and 8 times 5 equals 40. 16 plus 40 equals 56. If you look here, this one has already been solved. If I have 8 times 8, I can break that 8 times 8 into one of the factors into 5 plus 3. Then I can multiply, I can distribute. I know 8 times 5 plus 8 times the 3. I'm going to multiply here, and that's 40 plus 24, which equals 64. Shown right here, if kids did not know 8 times 3, they can use repeated addition. 8 plus 8 plus 8. They could draw 8 in 3 groups to equal 24 as well. So if they have 12 times 4, we can get into bigger numbers, and then we can use what we learned in addition. We know that 12 is 10 plus 2. We know about expanding numbers from when we had our addition unit and our subtraction unit. I know 12 is 10 plus 2. I can put that into parentheses, and I'm going to multiply by 4 for the distributive property. I'm going to distribute my 4 times 10, and the kids learned how to multiply by 10. Multiplying by 10 is a lot easier. So 4 times 10 here, plus I'm going to distribute my 4, and I'm going to multiply 2 times 4. 2 times 4 equals 8, plus 4 times 10, which equals 40, and then 40 plus 8 equals 48. 12 times 4 equals 48. Now, we can see this with a bigger number. What kids learned about expanded form from their addition unit, they can apply to multiplication as well, and they can use the distributive property. So here, if you have 188 times 4, they can take this big factor. They know that it's 100 plus 80 plus 8, and they can put that in parentheses and then make sure that they're going to multiply every addend by 4, and then they can distribute 100 times 4, and they can write that 100 times 4 plus 80 times 4, and then 4 plus 4 times 8. All right, 100 times 4, that's 4 100s, that equals 400, plus 80 times 4. If they're not sure what that is at first, they can put that to the side, and they know that's 80 plus 80, and then 80 plus 80. Those are 480s. So they can add the first 160, and they know that's 160, and then they can put that together, 160 plus 160. Use their addition skill, 0, 60, there we go, and then 320. So plus 320, and then 4 times 8, which equals 32. They could use other strategies to help them, like an array, repeated addition, skip counting, to figure that out. If they have it memorized, they can write 32, and then they're going to add this up. They know that 400 and 300 is 700 plus the 20, 720 plus the 32, and then they can add that over here. 720 plus 32. Add my 1, 0 plus 2 is 2, 20 and 30 is 50, 70, and 700 plus 0 is 700, so 720 plus 32 is 752, which is my product. So 188 times 4 equals 752. So you can see how the distributive property can be used to help kids break up larger numbers. It is the exact same thing. We use the distributive property when we are multiplying the way that we learned it. We're distributing it, right? 4 times 8 is 32, and then you're carrying it over. We're just learning a different strategy to help us see all of the numbers when we are multiplying.